Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. Bret Hart has to be the most bitter professional wrestler of all time. And bitter for someone who's super respected, like so respected in the industry. I think he's a two-time Hall of Famer. Like, Bret Hart is considered to be one of the greatest of all time. Like, if you ask like actual professional wrestlers, like a CM Punk, right, they say that Bret Hart is their inspiration and how they want to work inside of the ring. Like, Bret Hart was a worker's worker, right? He did a really good job of trying to make things look as real and as legit as possible. That's what made Bret Hart great, right? He was the excellence of execution, and that's legit and that's true. But nowadays, everything is wrong. He's so bitter. He didn't get a chair here. This guy sucks. This guy sucks. I wouldn't do this. They should do more like me. Oh my God, Bret Hart, you gotta relax, bro. And I know he's not just doing it for clicks, because this guy is so old. He randomly goes on just like podcasts and just talks mad shit. Maybe he enjoys it. Maybe he really does feel this way, but he's so bitter. And again, considered and highly respected, right? Considered one of the greatest workers and professional wrestlers of all time, and so respected within the industry. Maybe not by people who have been around for a really long time, like a Triple H or a Shawn Michaels, but current day wrestlers who really never worked with him much and just studied his work, like on tape and on film, and as they were coming up, and still nowadays absolutely love and respect his work. Now, I'm not a super big Bret Hart guy. Never have, never will be. I thought he was slightly boring. But still, an unbelievable worker. You can't dismiss the fact of how good Bret Hart was in the ring. But now days when all I hear is talking about so much, he just talks so much shit. I mean, the first thing he said recently, again, both things he said were about Triple H. I guess he just has huge beef with Triple H, just hates Triple H for maybe Triple H, again, apparently being a slime ball and being a skis ball and, weaseling his way into a job and all these sorts of things. But he said Triple H, he literally said he wouldn't consider any of Triple H's matches to be great. That's what Bret Hart said. Bret Hart said he wouldn't consider any of Triple H's matches to be great. Triple H is one of the best to ever do it. Triple H is in some people's Mount Rushmore for his energy, his charisma, his persona, his intensity, right? His character, his presence, his promo, his in-ring work. I mean, you look at matches he had with The Rock back in 1990s, and Cactus Jack, and Shawn Michaels in 2000s, and Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit, and then you look at his matches he had with Batista, you look at his matches he had with Undertaker at WrestleMania, you look at his most recent match, WrestleMania 30, right? Probably his last great match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I mean, these matches are considered great. Now, is Bret Hart a better worker than Triple H? Yes, of course. Right? What's the dispute there? Like, who cares? Bret Hart is a better worker than Triple H. I think Triple H had the more fuller package than Bret Hart, right? Triple H could talk, he had presence, he had charisma, he had the look, he had the size, right? He had all those sorts of things. I mean, Bret Hart had those things too, and maybe Bret Hart is not I think Bret Hart's work rate is better than Triple H, but overall, maybe Triple H is better. When you talk about Mount Rushmore, no one puts Bret Hart on a Mount Rushmore, but they do consider Triple H to be on a Mount Rushmore. Maybe now because he's, in the position he is, heading creative and all these types of stuff. But like to sit there and say, I don't consider any one of Triple H's matches to be great, is just a blatant lie. It's disrespect, it's rude, it's uncalled for, and it just doesn't make any sense, and it reduces the validity of what Bret Hart is saying, because most of the time, he does have actual good, valid points on the work of today. He does. I agree with that. He does have valid. I agree with some of the stuff he says. He doesn't like Gunther for some reason. I fucking love Gunther. Gunther's the best. But it reduces the validity of some of the stuff he says when he just talks straight out of his ass. Because he does have good points. He is an amazing worker, and so many wrestlers now do look up to him. And then he also said this. He also said why he thinks Bret Hart said this about Triple H, why he thinks Triple H is a phony. He was just coming for Triple H. He said, I think Triple H is a phony in the sense that he never earned it and he never deserved it. He married the boss's daughter, Stephanie McMahon. I wish she had been in the dressing room when I knocked Vince out. I wish that it happened, and he was in the dressing room because he might not be married to Stephanie anymore, or it might not have ever happened. There was so much anger, and Triple H was such a slime ball back in 1997. He was a guy that I had very little respect for. Now, that just sounds like someone who's bitter and jealous. Now, did Triple H probably get some special treatment when he started dating Stephanie McMahon? Did he get looked at above everyone else when he started dating and marrying and having kids with Stephanie McMahon in the eyes of her dad, Vince McMahon? Probably. Of course. But to say that he never earned anything is an outrageous statement and just doesn't make any sense, and is also disrespectful to the work that Triple H puts in. Because if you listen and hear Triple H's story from start to finish about how he did what he did in his career on podcasts and books and all that, he worked extremely hard just like anyone else who makes it to the top of the industry. Yes, of course, he maybe got a little special treatment, but it's the simple fact that he fell in love with Stephanie McMahon. They're still in love today. They're still married today. They have children. So it's probably a real, legit relationship. And we can get over the fact that maybe he got an extra hand because of it. It sounds like in that quote that Bret Hart is talking about why he thinks Triple H is a phony is that he's jealous. He wants to be in the position that Triple H is in, running creative, making storylines, doing things like that. And I'm sure WWE would love to give him a job. They would love to give him a job if he wasn't so bitter and rude and mean all the time to everyone and calling everyone phonies and this sucks and that's whack. They would love to have him work with the wrestlers and put together matches. They would love that. I'm sure they would love that. And the wrestlers would also love to be able to work with one of the best ever in Bret Hart. So there could be some symbiotic relationships here, but Bret Hart is too busy being a child and going on all these podcasts and just talking out of his ass. And so that's why I think Bret Hart is extremely bitter. He's got to change his tone if he actually wants to be involved in some of these WWE things. He can be honest. Be honest. Be honest about what you think of Triple H and Triple H's matches and Gunther and all these types of things. But there's a way of saying it that doesn't make you sound like a bitter old guy who doesn't have a seat at the table. And that's my 2 cents on Bret Hart and whatever. It is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Bret Hart, the whole situation, or really anything pro wrestling related. And I'd love to hear from you. And then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.